Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Everything is Fine, Nothing is Ruined podcast. Today, we're continuing our journey with everybody's favorite colorful cartoon family, which, of course, means that we have ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Hassan, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Tristan, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Mom, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Dad, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Bingo! Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Bluey! That's right, folks. We're here to complete the Great Bluey Rewatch. Tristan, you look very stunned.
I have no idea what Bluey... Well, actually, I have no idea what Bluey is, but I've never watched an episode of Bluey in my life. It's too Australian for me.
Okay.
I
mean, it's a problem because you said your topic was about the most popular colorful cartoon family of the 2020s.
Oh, of all time, realistically.
Yeah, Bluey.
Not Bluey, no. No, I'm pretty sure it's something else.
No, pretty sure it's Bluey.
I'm pretty sure I said it was something else. I wouldn't have just said... I wouldn't have been vague. That's the thing. I don't understand... I mean, we could talk about Bluey if you really want to, because I mean, like that is an option. I don't really know anything about Bluey, except for what my friend at work has told me, because he himself is a father, and he has watched a lot of Bluey with his kids, so... and he has told me all about like how intensive and careful Bluey is, and how much it is a show about adults that aimed at kids, which is interesting.
Hey, great! Yeah, so
yeah,
it's our topic. So let's hear it. Best episode, worst episode of this season.
I think you can do a series take on that one, because I'm pretty sure Bluey ended like this year. Pretty sure that's the case.
Yeah, that's why we're doing the Great Rewatch.
It is not. We're not doing Bluey for the rewatch, no. Yeah, sorry. No, that's not the thing we're doing.
You know what other show you'd be talking about?
Again, there are other family animated sitcoms out there. This one definitely is more so for like adults. Do you not know this one? I feel as if you should.
And so it's cartoon.
Yeah.
But the people are colored different than normal.
Yes, exactly. Like, quite a bit different.
Dragon Ball? Are we talking about Dragon Ball with like
no,
Mr. Popo and Piccolo?
No, not Mr. Popo. No, definitely not Mr. Popo. Well, it could have gone there.
Yeah, I got nothing then. I don't know what topic's supposed to be.
No, son, we're talking about The Simpsons. Jesus, that title card. It's looking, so yeah, The Simpsons. Great Simpsons Rewatch. Seasons 31 and 32. Oh my god, it's The Simpsons.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you really should have. It's a extremely popular show. It's a bit of a big deal.
I don't know. I think I'd have heard of it if that was the case.
I think you would have too. I'm pretty sure you have, considering we've done a multitude of episodes about this exact topic. This is like the 16th episode of this.
It's your topic?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I've been letting an AI just fill in for me for the last couple months, so that's probably why.
That explains why you've been a lot more attentive.
Yeah. You said it's season 31 we're up to?
Yeah!
All right.
31.
Don't remember what last season is, so I'm just going to pull a random number out. 5.31.
5.31. So last season, if you don't forget, was 3.96.
Okay, I overshot massively. I'm sticking with that number.
Do you want? Are you sure? You could. I mean,
No, I've said the number. I'm sticking with it.
I was going to allow the a change if you really want to.
Yeah, I said 5.31. Let's hear how poorly I missed.
Well, you're off by exactly 2 points.
3.31.
Yes. Season 31 gets a 3.31. It is. Yeah. I said this back in season 26, which is the worst season. Don't forget the worst season, season 26 in my ranking. That there are ones that kind of hit that. Like, if that's the bottom of the barrel, sometimes you have like a scuzzy little cesspool that sits above the bottom. That's not quite as bad as the bottom, but it's still pretty bad. It's like, oh, if you want to eat off a plate of maggots or a plate of manure, you have your choice. One's a little better. Yeah. 3.31,
huh? Okay.
Yeah, 3.31.
Let's hear what the somehow best episode supposedly is.
So the best episode. The best one. So, best episode has got to go down to Season 31, Episode 22, The Way of the Dog, which winds up with an 8 out of 10. Now, that one is... how can I put this? It's kind of like The Simpsons wanted to have their... let's have a sad Futurama episode stage. The Way of the Dog, which it does do, I think it's a little bit... Upon rewatching this, it's definitely deserves 8 out of 10. However, it's maybe a contextual 8 out of 10 as per this season.
I have to say, reading the summary, I don't remember exactly where I fell off on The Simpsons. But it's not until this moment that I realized, oh, Santa's Little Helper used to be more of a character on the show. And I feel like...
he's head up and down, yeah.
I don't know what season it would be, but probably not even that far in. It's probably season 7 or 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that he was never there, but there become very few episodes where he has any sort of
anything you do
emotional importance to them. They might have an episode where he technically plays a key role in it of some kind of oh no, the dog ate the key to this box or whatever. But emotionally, he hasn't really been part of the family.
Not really. With that said, the last time you're right, because the last time I can think of he's been truly emotionally involved was when he needed surgery, and then everybody resented him after they got him the surgery because it cost them a lot of money to save their dog's life. And then he ran away, and it's a whole thing. So that's season, I think, 6, something like that, 5 or 6. So yeah. So he hasn't really been an emotional aspect of the show, not truly anyway. There have been a few episodes. There's one episode where a blind guy gets Santa's Little Helper, and that one's pretty emotional, but it's not really all that tear-jerking. We know he's going to go back to Bart. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this episode is... Okay, to lay it down, Santa's Little Helper is a race dog. He's a racing hound from the track, grew up in, kind of a mean way, bred to run real fast. He's a greyhound, etc. Now, this explores what can happen to somebody growing up in that environment, and especially a dog. And this episode is basically about how Santa's Little Helper has PTSD. Like, from being ripped away from his mom and being forced into running races all the time, all this stuff. He has severe PTSD over that stuff. And, like, there's a hat that he really enjoys. It's like the Santa's hat. And this is a Christmas episode. Should point that out. And he will not let go of the Santa's hat, and he will not stop staring at this spot in the wall, which is just like 3 dots. And when Marge goes to take the Santa's hat away from him, he bites her. Now, to break some of this down, I think people should watch this one themselves if they want more. If they want like a real good tearjerker episode, this one does it. There are some real good points that this episode makes, and like one of my favorite ones is like when they go to take Santa's Little Helper to the therapist. And the therapist is kind of like, I don't think I really want to deal with your dog, but I love animals. I love your dog is really nice, but like I have too much going on right now. And Lisa's like, that's nice. Well, here's the thing: if you don't help our dog, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Oh.
And she kicks off her shoes and she like gives Bart her pearls. She's like, hold my pearls, Bart. And she's gonna whoop on the therapist. 8-year-old versus like a 56-year-old, yeah.
I don't think that's a good way to start a relationship with a therapist.
Yeah, well, it's a dog, so you know. But the therapist does eventually take Santa's Little Helper into her care and that kind of stuff, and that's when we start learning the tragic past. And the 3 dots are. This is the only time I'm going to set up a spoiler for an episode because like not the only time. They'll be later as well, I think. This one. People might want to go into it blind, so a bit of a spoiler for this one. The 3 dots in the wall represent, like, they remind him of his mother's nipples when he was a puppy, because, like, that's, like, the only thing that a puppy would see for, like, a long time. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's a little bit weird of a...
Yeah.
Like, I get what they're going for. A little bit weird to be like, oh, it's my mother's nipples.
Yeah, I know, but like it's, but it's just one of those things where like it makes more sense. It's just the fact that he misses his mom, like that's what this really boils down to, is that like he needs a mother's love, and like there's a reason like he kind of bites Marge, but he doesn't mean to, but like it's because like the hat represents the first time he ever felt that love since leaving his mom as a puppy, and that hat is actually Bart's hat he was wearing at the racetrack when they picked him up, and it's just like, oh, okay. it's a real like, oh, kind of episode. They kind of reiterate the "he's a Simpson" line from the first episode of The Simpsons, so yeah, it's a good one. He's a Simpson.
Yeah, no, I could see how this would be a good episode.
It's solid.
Then let's hear the worst episode.
Oh boy! So the worst one.
3.31 season.
Yeah. Let me say, it was hard to choose the worst one. We got 4 1 out of 10s by the way in the season, so 4 1s out of 10.
Yes.
Yup. And I chose Better Off Ned, season 31, episode 16. Better Off Ned. This episode is so okay. Bart gets a hold of Grandpa Simpson's dud grenade, and he pulls this prank at school, which with the dud grenade during like what's it called, a gathering. Where? You know what I'm talking about, where they all go to the gym and basically to go, or the auditorium, and you gotta listen to the teacher speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear the word for
assembly?
that. Assembly, yes, thank you.
That's what we call it.
Assembly. It goes to an assembly about how everybody's. It's an assembly about how everybody's vocabulary is terrible. Ironic that, as well as how fat every kid is in the school. Yeah, American school, sure. So, when Bart pulls the prank where he has the dud grenade, he's like, "Don't worry, everybody. It's just a dud grenade. If I don't, it's just a grenade. If I don't pull the pin, it won't go off." But he's like, "Uh-oh, I pulled the pin by accident," kind of prank. It's,
yeah, bad prank.
Bad prank. It's a classic dud grenade joke, though. And so he drops it, and so Skinner wets his pants, and all the kids freak out, and it's a whole thing. I don't know why Skinner,
the ex-military
guy, yes, doesn't jump on the grenade. Yes.
Well, no, it's just the idea of like, Skinner's a coward who would wet his pants at the first sign of, a weapon. It's like he's like ex.
He's served at Vietnam, yeah.
Like Gulf War, I forget which it was.
No, it was Nam.
This
it was
guy
Nam.
seeing action, not to say he couldn't be, go back to say it a little, not to say there couldn't be like PTSD or whatever, but like just the idea of like, oh, he's a coward around weapons.
Yeah,
it's like, did you guys forget your own character's backstory here?
They did.
That doesn't make sense
because it's Ned Flanders that jumps in the grenade. Ned Flanders.
Okay. No.
Doesn't
make sense.
Yeah, and so they're going to expel Bart for this, and then Ned's like, "Hold on, don't expel Bart. I've lived next to him my entire life, or at least his entire life." And it's just like, I know this boy has some goodness in him. Let me get it out there through the power of God. And so it's like this part where Ned teaches Bart to be a good kid takes about 5 minutes. No, not even 3 minutes of the episode. So by that point, we're like, prank. Bart is learning from Ned, and now he's a good kid. They go fishing once, and he teaches Bart the power of accomplishment. And it's like, wow, I can be a good kid. And then he just immediately starts being a good kid. And it's like, okay, that's one thing. And now we have a part where Homer, and just let me know if you think this episode reminds you of anything. Homer is jealous about this and decides to go and find a kid who is like Bart to mentor him. So it's Nelson. So Homer starts mentoring Nelson. And
that's the part I really don't like.
Yeah.
Because not having watched this episode, I know how it's going to end.
Yep.
Which is that, Homer will just abandon Nelson.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, cool. So, the kid who we have repeatedly shown from a broken home, missing a father figure.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to give him one, and we're just going to rip it away.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a real cool move, guys.
Except they don't quite. They do that, but they do something else as well at the end of the episode. So Homer basically appears to try and help Nelson the same way Ned is helping Bart. But yeah, it's all a ruse because it doesn't really go anywhere, and we all know that Homer's going to abandon Nelson eventually anyway because he just wants to get back at Bart. That's all it is. And so during this Christian Pride Parade, they have
clear a parade about Christians proud of their religion, not a pride parade featuring people who are also Christian.
Nope.
Got it.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
So they have built two hands that pray. Once the parade has gone through, like the end point, the hands close and they are in prayer. And so Nelson is ready to, like, poised in like the the library window to shoot a slingshot into the button that turns it on prematurely and crush Bart. But instead, Homer saves him, and he crushes Homer instead, and it's a whole thing. And then they go to the hospital, and then the episode just kind of ends. But it doesn't just end, because it goes like the end, and it's like, oh shit, we have like actually 3 or 4 minutes left in this episode. So then, then the episode is actually about how Nelson and Ned kind of get together, because Ned feels bad for Nelson, and he's like, you know what, I'm going to mentor this kid at the very, very end. Now, I ask you, does this remind you of an episode of The Simpsons that already exists? It should. It's a relatively popular one.
No, I can't think of which one you're referencing.
There's an episode in like season 6 or 7, I believe, in which Bart claims he doesn't have or is it earlier? It might be earlier. Bart claims he doesn't have a father to the Big Brothers of America. He gets a big brother who shows him all the cool things that his dad didn't show him. And Homer learns this, gets jealous, gets his own little brother. They then go to a event and begin. This is like the origin, the big long like overview fight
episode.
Yeah, and then at the very, very end, Bart is about to go off in the ambulance with Homer, but then he realizes, oh, Pepe and my big brother Todd, they are like perfect for each other. Why don't you two just hang out? And it's like, oh yeah, they did fine. There's the happy ending right there. And then Bart gets with Homer, and they leave. It's the exact same plot, exact same thing happening. I get that at a certain point you can't, you will be redoing and cannibalizing your own plots and ideas for a show that's been running for 700 episodes. And like, the fact of the matter is, this episode begins with them going, oh man, it's the 700th episode in like the opening title card. And this is how, and this is what they do. To show you how fresh and good and still awesome Simpsons is, they give us a rehash of a previous episode from the fucking 90s. Look, unless they did it on purpose.
If you're still watching it at this point,
and I am,
they're not wrong to just basically go, here's some more slop we know you're going to eat.
Yeah,
why?
I guess so.
Oh, you wanted some nice garnishment on top of it? You don't need that. You'll just eat the gruel anyways.
Yeah.
You're stuck with us 31 seasons. You're not going to stop.
Yep, pretty much. Well, that's the worst episode. It's pretty bad. It's also nowhere near as good as that original episode about Homer and about the Big Brothers of America. So like, just go watch that one instead. Just replace the one I just talked about, Better Off Ned, with that one in the lineup. Just shove it back in. It's the exact same thing. Less God.
All right. Well, funnily enough, the episode I want to talk about is season 31, episode 9. Ooh. Todd, why hast thou forsaken me?
Okay.
And I mainly want to talk about this because reading the plot, it is about Todd, Ned's son, saying, he can't remember his mother's face anymore. Mm-hmm. Which is a very weird thing for The Simpsons to address when these characters don't age.
Yep.
Like,
this show is stuck in the same year.
Yeah, and so it's this weird thing of, okay, like I'm sure they don't, put like an actual specific time frame on it of like, your mother passed away X months ago or whatever it is. But it's a very weird thing for the Simpsons to tackle when it's like, well, this character didn't actually die years ago, like she did for us. It's just, if I was in charge of the Simpsons, it's the sort of subject matter that it's not, you couldn't address it. You couldn't have storylines about it, but it's that I would want it to be of characters where that is just not, I don't want to say immersion breaking, but just something that feels like this just very difficult to buy in for the audience scenario. If you were sitting here and instead of Todd, it was, you know, like, I don't think we know his parents, but like Mo or Krusty the Clown, somebody like this, if they were going through this and, you know, upset that they could no longer remember a deceased parent's face, that you could buy into, because for those characters, you could write that and say, oh, they lost their parents at a young age, and now as these adults, something reminded them of their parent, but they can't even picture their face, and, you know, it's upsetting to them. But with Todd, it's this weird constant disconnect and reminder of the situation these characters are in, of being ageless and never truly moving forward on things. I just do not understand why they would do this. It just seems
it's kind of weird,
bizarre.
Because I mean, like, so you're right. They could have done this with like Herschel Kristofsky. They could have done this with I mean, it makes enough sense to do it with Todd, but again, we're stuck in the same year. Technically, Maud has only died maybe a few months ago. Also, Ned keeps pictures of Maud around the house.
Yeah, and it's also, if you do it with one of these other characters, it just doesn't seem like there's a problem later on. But,
no,
this is season 31. This aired in 2019.
Yep.
So it's this weird thing of, okay, what happens if you have an episode that focuses on Todd in 2024? You're obviously not going to acknowledge this.
No,
that
of course
would
not.
Be very weird.
Yes.
But it makes it that problem of, okay, when 4 or 5 years have passed from this episode, and this young child going through this real life, very difficult and traumatic thing, and that's just not part of his character anymore. It's just weird, and I cannot understand how the writer's room was not like, this should be a different character. This is weird to do that with this character, and what it means in the greater context of The Simpsons.
They should be weirded out by that, to be honest. It's definitely a swing and a miss. We're talking about a 3 out of 10 episode, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because, like, there's more you could do with this, like a lot more. And I mean, the idea of a child forgetting his mother's face is it's a unique situation that you could write a good story around, but the way they go about it is simply just too bland.
Yeah, that's kind of the other thing too, is Ned's not the right father figure for that. Yeah. Obviously, he loved his wife, but we very rarely saw actual romance out of the two of them. You know, they were played as this very Puritan Christian couple. Yep. And so, you know, him reminiscing about the love that he had for his wife, it's like, it kind of doesn't work when most of that love is founded on, oh, she was a super Puritan religious person like me, and not, oh, we shared a love of this, genre film, or this musical artist, or oh yeah, the trip we went to Spain and we fell in love with Spanish cuisine, like those things that a similar, I'll say, trope to lean into for this kind of story plot that other shows would have doesn't really work with Ned and Maud. So
no, I agree.
Just weird character choices.
Here's a fun little thing. We are going to address that within this episode of the show.
Okay. I guess that means moving on to season 32.
Yeah. What do you want to guess for this one, Zon? What do you want to guess?
I don't think it goes down, but I don't think it goes up by much. 3.61.
Do you want to take that back? Want to try something else?
Monty
Hall.
No, I'll stick with my numbers.
Okay. Monty Hall always has to change because you're wrong. 3.61, more like 6.81. We're back.
Well,
yeah.
Tristan,
what?
I think my headphones aren't working or bad internet connection or something. Could you say that number again?
6.81.
Just to be clear, you haven't forgotten how to count.
I have not, no.
Sequence of numbers.
I have not forgotten how to count. No,
You're saying we went from 3.31
yes,
to 6.81.
Yes. I am saying exactly that.
And you watched this season sober?
I did, yes. God, I wish I hadn't. But
okay. All right. That's,
this one's... Yeah.
I was not expecting a jump like that.
No, I know. We don't have anything that's hitting a 1 or a 10. So nothing to really bog it down, nothing to really skyrocket it. This one is very middle of the road. So that's why it is the way it is. 6.81, and there are a few standouts, gotta say.
Okay. Well, since we do
oh, sorry.
Good, bad, good.
Yeah,
What's the worst episode of this season?
Let's directly address the exact same thing we just discussed about Maud and Ned. With season 32, episode 16, Manger Things. 3 out of 10. So, yeah.
Hang on. That title is obviously a Stranger Things reference.
Yes.
It's okay. I guess it's fun. Stranger Things been around for 5 years at this point. I was thinking that was a little early, but I guess not.
No, it's not. Also, I was wrong. This is the 700th episode of The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my apologies. The previous one was like 600 and still like 690 something. So like, get off my case. No. So this episode is about in the past. Homer helps deliver Todd. So Homer helps essentially wet nurse Todd Flanders. So what happens here is that Homer gets kicked out of the house because during the company Christmas party, this is like 6 years ago, he accidentally gets drunk when Lenny spikes his Buzz Cola. Because Marge asks him not to get drunk and make an ass of himself. He does not do that. He gets drunk and makes an ass of himself.
Hold on.
Hold
on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, of course.
Spikes it with just alcohol.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. We're to believe that a can or a bottle of soda was spiked with enough booze that Homer got drunk.
Yes.
And that he didn't notice it while drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Move on.
More likely he noticed it and just didn't care.
All right, look, if that was the plot, that's fine.
It wasn't,
just
though.
The idea of, wow, this soda tastes like vodka. What? I'll just keep drinking.
It was definitely like whiskey or rum too. Very obvious. Like it was a very obviously a brown liquor. So yeah,
okay,
it's one of those. Right
uh-huh.
It's not that one. It's like this one, maybe this one. Look at pointed things here. Yeah. Anyway, point is, so Marge kicks him out of the house, and now he's on the streets, and he goes to all these places to try and get a place to sleep for the night. It's Christmas time, by the way, hence Manger Things. Another Christmas episode. And Ned takes him in. And now he's part of the Ned Flanders flock for a little bit while he's there. And Maude despises Homer Simpson. She's always hated Homer, and this is pretty canonical. Whatever. So, in this episode, Homer finds a little hidey hole above the garage that has a vent in his own house, because eventually Maude kicks him out of their house as well. So now he has really no home to go to. So he sequesters himself inside this little hidey hole attic storage space above the garage and listens to his family have a nice Christmas. He then starts he leaves for a little bit and goes to Ned's, and Maude is in labor, and he's the only one there. Ned is out running errands, and Homer is able to deliver, or will help deliver Todd. Now, there is one thing that happens here that directly addresses what you were discussing, or you were talking about in the episode you just discussed. Todd, we're right there, whatever, etc. And what happens here is that Maude needs comfort, and she's like, Homer, I need you to talk like Ned. So he's like, ooh, okily gokily, neighborino, let's birth this baby kind of thing. And she's like, no, like the real Ned. And he's like, okay, okily dokily. She's like, no, the one that actually that you've seen around the house. And that's when Homer kind of pulls himself into loving Ned mode, and he's kind of we're gonna get to do this together, all this stuff, and she's like, oh yeah, that's Ned Flanders, I know.
I'm sorry, the 700th episode of The Simpsons, is implying that there's just a normal version of Ned Flanders that we have never seen before.
You got it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I didn't point... Speaking of versions of Ned Flanders, one thing I didn't point out in the Better Off Ned worst episode of season 31 is that you get a little bit of Hurricane Nettie coming back from season 9. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so Homer is like, oh, maybe we'll get through it together. I love you. You're gonna have such a beautiful kid. All this stuff, and he's like, oh, that's the Ned Flanders I know and love right there. And then it just kind of smash cuts to Homer having holding Todd in his hands, and Marge has witnessed this whole thing go down, and I guess she witnessed the birth but didn't really step in or anything, because then she steps in later after Todd has been delivered. And there was no, as far as I know, there was no epidural or anything administered to Maude. She just had a natural birth, which checks out for Bible thumping puritanicals.
I was gonna say, not that unbelievable.
No, but I've heard the horror stories of what natural birth feels like, and I don't think she had Rod that way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't. It's the idea of it's episode 700. What if we just retroactively pretend that Ned's a totally different person at home?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
we know
cool.
he's not. Yeah.
No.
Everybody has like their more romantic side to them, like in a way, but like I don't think it's that much different from what he normally is. So this is kind of just bullshit. It's a 3 out of 10 episode, and I don't think they really do anything all that interesting or all that correct for the characters in this episode. I don't know, maybe they do, but that's, I don't know. It takes A, too long to get there, and B, it's so over and done with quickly. Like the rest of the plot, you could have just went to Homer delivered Todd, the end, and that's all it is. You don't really need everything in between, but I don't know, I digress. You wouldn't have an episode otherwise, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, that's the worst episode of season 32.
Yeah, so let's hear the best one.
The best one! It has to go to, and I actually quite like this one. It's going to be season 32, episode 19, Panic on the Streets of Springfield. 9 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's hear about it, and I'm assuming it's pronounced Quillaby.
You are correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So Quillaby is Lisa's brand new imaginary friend, who she makes up, like, kind of more so he invades her, I guess. British invasion. At the time, she makes him up because Homer gets a subscription to not Spotify but Slapify. I don't know why or whatever. There's a joke there somewhere, I guess. Gets a subscription to that through his brand new truck that he purchases because he has low testosterone. And instead of getting pills, he just buys a truck to kind of supplement the testosterone aspect. It's Homer Simpson, so whatever, that makes perfect sense. So, at that point, she's trying to like let Spotify find her perfect music, and she's up until like 3 a.m. unlocking everything, and Slapify is just like, hey, if you literally dislike everything, here's this guy, Quillaby, and the Snuffs, who totally hates everything as well.
I'm sorry, Quillaby and the Snuffs?
Yes.
Did they explain why they're called the Snuffs?
No, they don't.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
My brain's going like, are we talking about snuff powder? Is it just Quillaby and the cocaine?
No, I mean, like, whatever. Snuff powder's not tobacco cocaine.
I mean, look, if he's an 80s artist,
yeah,
not ridiculous.
It isn't, no. By this point, I hope you, at least Hassan, know who they're referencing with Quillaby. He's a sardonic, sarcastic, hateful little British man who is sad and depressed and makes sad, depressed, alt-prog rock music from the 80s.
Elton John.
It's definitely Elton John, thank you, yes.
Is it supposed to be like The Cure or something?
No. This is an episode, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, by the way, about Morrissey.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Now this is the reason why this is a 9 out of 10, though, because like this one does it well. Unlike the Elon Musk episode, this does it well. Because A, you know they're not going to get Morrissey on the episode because they're going to talk about how much of an asshole he is. And he is. So he kind of turns Lisa... So Quillaby turns Lisa to being this sardonic, mean girl, punk rock, chick who goes to band and, like, basically drags out the little inner darkness of people into the light so everybody can see that just by like saying a couple of little dumb things. And like for Bart, when Bart's there and like he's making fun of her musical tastes, and along with like Nelson and Milhouse are there as well, and Quillaby tells her just to say ever so slowly, imperceptibly, your friends are growing tired of you. Which is like, ooh. And both Nelson and Milhouse share this kind of like, this little like look between each other. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Like, no, we love your pranks, Bart. You're so funny. Remember that one with the slime? That's a good one, yeah. And they just walk away. It's just like, oh, rough. Or there's one that with I can't remember his name now. The band instructor at the school. There's at one point where he's teaching music class, and Quillaby tells Lisa to say this to him: "You wave your wand all day around, but I don't hear anything magical being produced." Which is like, yeah, a little oof.
It's believable as a Morrissey line, I'll say that.
Yeah, it really is, right?
Oh, it's so poetic.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's a little like overly poetic. Exactly, yes, that's Morrissey. Morrissey was poetic in a way to a point where he was overly poetic. So, yeah. Anyway, Marge gets rid of the Slapify account because it's turning Lisa into Morrissey, basically. And so, to combat that, Lisa and her new imaginary friend, Quillaby, decide, Quillaby is actually playing, who was a recluse, he's playing at a pretty close, like, music festival. Let's just go there instead to listen to him live. Perfect. And Quillaby, the imaginary friend, of course, can't really warn Lisa about what has happened to this character.
They went full Morrissey.
Full Morrissey, right. Yeah. So she goes there, and Quillaby's whole thing is he's a vegan, like a militant vegan who loves the planet and hates capitalism and all this stuff. And she goes there to watch her favorite musical artist of all time, and he's the exact opposite of what's in her mind. And he's a greedy, capitalistic, pastrami-eating, drunk motherfucker who's fat and ugly.
And pastrami, but okay.
Pastrami's great. She's vegan, though. She's vegetarian, so, you know. Yeah. Point is, he's nothing like what she pictured him as. And all of his new songs are all about how great capitalism is and how everybody else but him sucks. Which is what most Morrissey songs were originally about anyways. But yeah, full Morrissey. And the whole episode is basically about hey, maybe don't idolize people super hard, because you'll probably be let down at some point when you see them in real life and realize they're horrible, because they are still a person. I can think of quite a few examples in recent history of that happening to people. So,
yeah, it's interesting though, because this is 2021.
Yeah,
and I feel like this is still early into Morrissey kind of going full
Boris. What's his name?
Johnson.
Boris Johnson backing motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't want necessarily, because I don't know enough about his politics to necessarily like fully say he went, like right wing Trumper, but like
he did not Trumper,
definitely
but yeah.
went off the deep end, and it feels like 2021's a little early, so I'm surprised that they did this.
I'm pretty sure that the Morrissey thing broke in 2019, 2018.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure.
It's hard to remember, but maybe it was that far back.
Because that's around the time we were also talking about how much Sid Vicious also sucked.
for different reasons. But
no,
he's
similar reasons actually. He's also a right winger.
Oh, was it? Yeah, okay. I was thinking it was something else was with him. But
no, similar thing.
Neither of them I ever really idolized or particularly cared for. No. So,
but everybody in the 80s
not that I'm trying to get on my like a high horse.
No, of course.
Smarter than everybody, but just I didn't really care for them, so it's hard to remember too much about them.
Fair enough, but like back in the day, like everybody was just like, oh yeah, we all love these guys for like their punk rock attitude and their Dan the Man, like screw the Queen kind of attitude, like, punk rock like rock music stuff. But it turns out it's all
the only British guy who had that persona that actually seems to still be a decent human being who still carried the same ethos as Alan Moore. I don't understand it.
That's not who I thought you were going to say, but yeah, I guess so. He never changed. You're right.
No, it's still just an angry 40-year-old man who hates capitalism and still says very insightful things. You're like, oh man.
I thought you were going to say...
Weird to see this redemption arc from him where people sure did dislike that guy in like early 2000s, and then we come around and be like, no, actually he was right the whole time on a lot of this stuff.
I thought you were going to say Billy Bragg.
No,
Who's the other?
Alan Moore.
I mean, Billy Bragg was also like, if he is the literally the exact opposite of Morrissey. Like came out swinging about how bad capitalism is and how equality is good and all this stuff, and and then he maintained that. He still sings about like that stuff today. Solidarity forever, etc. Anyway, that's the best episode of this season. It's a really good one. Lots of great jokes. It's a fun one as well because they do a good thing. This is the beginning of like the Simpsons kind of over animating certain things, and you can tell whoever was animating Quillaby had a blast because like he's just like fucking all over the place. Just like he's posing almost like a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure way. Sometimes like I'm gonna be like.
Pretty good.
Yeah, which is very Morris. He's like, oh, look at me. I just laying on the bed. Yeah. It's really good. Like it's a really good looking episode, and like they do a thing with his hair. He's got that like the really like frocky like poof of hair in the front, and like it flops around, and like this episode just looks really good. So and like the A plot and the B plot match up. Sort of for the most part, but that's neither here nor there. 9 out of 10. Which I'm like, man, I'm glad to be reviewing an episode that's like really good. It's a good one. Not like the greatest, but it's almost there. Yeah.
So that's actually because just based off the description, that the episode I want to talk about. I feel similarly why I want to talk about is that it reads like it's an almost there episode, which is season 32, episode 12, Diary Queen.
Oh.
Because, in just reading the plot off Wikipedia, it's talking about how Bart and Milhouse discover Edna Krabappel's old diary, and that it has pages where she's writing about the success of like. The Wikipedia page says fixing Bart's school life.
Yep.
Like, fixing's a bit of a not the word I would want to use, but helping to set him on the right course kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like that all sounds great. Edna as a character was I would argue one of the more like interesting characters where there was a real depth to her as this teacher who came across as disinterested and uncaring about her students, but we would get those moments where no, actually she had the passion of a teacher would come through, like especially in 2021 post COVID and seeing what, hey, being a teacher, never an easy job. Post-COVID, boy, just I basically double every like public school teacher's salary because they deserve it because they're all underpaid.
Oh yeah, they sure are.
And again, public. There's probably some private schools where they're probably overpaid, but and it's like, oh, this all sounds great until it gets to a line where it's like, oh no, she was actually just referring to her cat. Oh
yeah,
cool, man. Like you have this moment where it could be this actually really tender and sort of a cliche topic of the idea of oh, here's a teacher who's gonna come in and be this important figure in the student's life and set them on the right course,
right?
But also it's a cliche because teachers genuinely are that. They are adults that have massive influence on all of us throughout our childhoods and do help to steer us in life. But then to kind of just like kick that out in that way, go, oh no, she was talking about her cat. Like, oh, man, did you really have to make it, a joke? Couldn't have been sincere on this.
So with that episode, the way that episode goes is that it is a little more sincere than it actually is billed because they make it a joke. It's like, oh, it's actually about her cat, but there's a point where they realize that so they go and talk to Ned because like Ned was married to Edna Krabappel for a little bit until the actress died and but they go and talk to Ned and he kept some of her other writings and which basically says like no, like she actually did believe that she was doing good with Bart and everybody else they talked to was kind of like, no, yeah, like she actually understood that like what she was doing helped Bart through, and it doesn't matter if there's writing that says otherwise. She still did it because you believe she had that effect on you. That's kind of how the episode goes, and it is a pretty touching episode. The joke doesn't help it because like when it comes down to she's talking about her cat, that doesn't really express what the rest of the episode is trying to say, and that kind of sucks because you're right, they could have kept it sincere and they could have had a really good like tear-jerker episode about what it means to influence somebody's life, like I said, because you're right, teachers as much as parents have an incredible amount of influence on the kids they teach.
It's not like we haven't had a sincere teacher episode. I
no, we have, yeah.
Cannot think of his name right now, but
Mr. Bergstrom.
Lisa Simpson. Yes, Mr. Bergstrom.
Yeah.
Like, The Simpsons has done that. It's had episodes where it's gone, no, this is just a genuine episode. There's no joke at the end. There's no haha, just kidding moment.
Yeah.
Okay, it feels like you were almost there, and then you just didn't land it for some reason.
So close. I agree. Yeah, you're right. Like that's the thing. This episode got a 7 out of 10 for me because of the reasons you just cited there. It's like, oh, it's just so close. It's still not a bad episode. They still do some good stuff, and like the joke reveal of it being her cat is revealed well enough to be like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. But yeah, they really should have just focused, I think, on being more sincere and keeping the message clear. That's what they should have done, as opposed to muddling it with like the jokes and that kind of stuff. And it's still a comedy show, so I understand that The Simpsons is going to have some jokes in there, but like, it just kind of messes up the plot to be like, okay, they get so far into the episode and it's like, it's about her cats. Okay. And then they go like, oh, hold on, wait now. But there's other writing that says otherwise. It's actually she did write about Bart because here's this passage. Okay, yeah. And it's just like, it's trying to catch itself in a way, It just, I just feel as if like the episode is like it's falling out of a hammock and is just trying to like grasp and like wrap itself back up. You know, it's weird.
Yeah, I'll say
good but weird.
It still seems like it's a return to form, which is good.
Yes, it is. Yeah, again, it's a well done episode for the most part. So, like I said, I gave it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is pretty solid. And like this is emblematic for the rest of the season because most of the episodes are like usually between like 5 to 7. So
okay.
Yeah.
We should wrap up. So
yeah.
Why don't you tell people which part of Australia to find us in?
Adelaide.
Ooh, so close it was actually Brisbane.
Oh, damn, it was close actually.
Well, I say as if I don't know, they could be hundreds of kilometers from the map. I'm going to be honest, I don't know how to place my cities in Australia.
I was just playing along. Who cares? Australia's too spread out. How are you a continent and a country, you crazy Aussies? Man, pick one. New Zealand's over here being a continent and a country. It's just one of them. God.
Oh, the two cities are only 2,000 kilometers apart.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. It's like a 2.5 hour flight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I could have chose Tasmania.
Anyways, go on.
Yeah, so that's it for the episode. You should go to our Twitter, which is at eifnir. Still refusing to call it X. Twitter, go there. You should also go to our Spotify, iTunes, and all those places where you can actually like push buttons to like our show. YouTube especially. We can go there and click on things until one of us just explodes.
Look, I'm gonna be honest. Hopefully, that's me.
No. Yeah. Cool. I'm into that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How am I got an explosion like a Power Ranger / Super Sentai villain? So.
Oh yeah, like an explosion that kind of like throws you. You go like kind of thing.
Or, it's like a big explosion as I'm falling down, like, the two bursts, and then as I hit the ground, the big third one.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm okay if, the people clicking on YouTube stuff does that to me.
Do you want, like, excess sparks or just enough sparks?
Oh, the most sparks.
Okay, cool. We'll make that happen, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Do that. Click on YouTube buttons until Hassan just erupts into an explosion. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You should also go to our friends at DJDang.com. Let's go to DJDang.com. Go there, listen to his great tunes. And just if you need someone to deliver you a baby on Christmas, that's your neighbor. You can just count on DJ Dang.
Look, if there's no one else, obviously he'll help.
I would hope so.
Go to a hospital instead.
Probably try it for hospital first, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think he's medically trained. I gotta go on a limb.
I don't think being a DJ qualifies you as
not typically
being medically trained to deliver a baby.
Not typically. Anyway, that is it for our show. Tune in next time for another Effete episode of Everything is Fine, Things Ruined. See ya.
See ya.
Say it.